Assalamualaikum to our lecturer, Madam Nur Afiah and my fellow friend. I am Nur Afiah Ezzati binti Rosli, and today I will present to you a topic about communication and intrapersonal skills. First, we go to the definition of communication. What is communication? Communication is defined as the process of transmitting and receiving ideas, information, and message. Communication is the effective sharing or transmission of facts, opinion, or emotion by two or more people. There are three basic elements of communication, which are the sender, the message, and the receiver. This may sound simple, but communication is actually a very complex subject. The transmission of the message from sender to receiver can be affected by huge range of things. These include our location, our emotion, the culture situation, and also the medium used to communicate. Okay. There are 7 C of effective communication, which are clear, correct, complete, concrete, concise, consider, and courteous. Okay, next we go to the definition of interpersonal skills. Okay, interpersonal skills are all about working with other people. Communication between two persons or among a small group of persons, usually for purpose of managing relationship. Okay, interpersonal skills are actually characteristic traits like manners, attitude, courtesy, habit, behavior, and appearance, which help us to communicate and maintain relationship with others. Different with interpersonals, intrapersonal communication is communication that happens within an individual. It consists of self-talk, self-concept, introspection, and personal reflection. Interpersonal communication is the most basic level of communication. You must understand who you are and what you think of yourself. Okay, how intrapersonal skill happen? Okay, we can use language use or talk internal to the communicator. Intrapersonal is a skill which actually a higher developed self-knowledge involving accurate knowledge of goals, strengths, limitation, moods, anxiety, desire, and also motivation. Okay? Now you know the definition of communication, intrapersonal, and interpersonal skills. Okay, let's proceed to the importance of communication, inter and intrapersonal skills. There are so many importance of communication, but today I will highlight 3 importance of communication, which number 1 is help in smooth working. First of all, communication helps to spread knowledge and information among people. For example, teachers share their experience with their students. Okay, number 2 is establish effective leadership. Leaders, as you know, leaders tend to build a positive mindset. They change the mindset of society. They drive the group of people in the right decision. They build the team to achieve certain goals. They inspire the faster, and they have to lead people with the good example. In all these things, communication skills play a very important role. And the last important of communication is act as basic for decision making. Communication is very important for decision making and planning. The quality of decision depends on the quality of communication. Next, the importance of interpersonal skills. First, effective communication is very helpful in workplace where we need to interact with different type of people. It is no doubt that communication plays a vital role in human life. It not only helps to facilitate the process of sharing information and knowledge, but also help people to develop relationship with others. Every day, we communicated with a lot of people including our families, our friends, our clique, or even strangers. We should learn how to communicate effectively to make our life better. The second one is, it is important to maintaining good relationship within families and friends. Supporting, disclosing, communicating needs, and demonstrating the understanding of others' family members are just a few of communication behavior crucial in creating a family which is healthy and happy. Last is the importance of intrapersonal skills. In order to successfully communicate with others, you must first learn to communicate with yourself. This is like self-motivation is the absolute knowledge of what everyone wants from their life, which will also enable to the person to achieve those aim and goal while motivation themselves. Engaging in intrapersonal communication help you better understand your desire, passion, and motivation. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, there are 7 types of interpersonal skills. Before I explain one by one, interpersonal skills are the tools that people use to interact and communicate with individuals in an organizational environment. So we, as a teacher in future, we communicate and socialize with many people in the schools, such as students, teachers, workers in the canteen, staff, guards. So interpersonal skills are very important to the teacher as they always communicate and socialize with the others and many peoples. Okay, the first one is verbal communication. Verbal communication is how and what words are used to communicate with individuals. We know that words are powerful tools of communication because word choice can influence the attitude, thought, and behavior of the people that listening to us. Okay, next, there are 2 types of verbal communication, which is oral communication and written communication. Okay, oral communication is a conversation in a person or telephone, like we are calling each other. Okay, the benefits is ideas can be interchanged, prompt feedback can be provided, allow use of gesture, facial expression, and other emotions such as voice or tone. And there is also the disadvantage, which is it can result in poor communication because of immediacy, not clearly encoded, or noise in the process. Okay, for the written communication, okay, the benefit is allow sender to think about message, reread it, have others review it, and provide a record of communication. Okay, the example of written communication is a student and teacher having a conversation through WhatsApp. And the major drawbacks means disadvantage. It takes more time to prepare, no interaction, no immediate feedback, and also discourage open communication. So next, let's rewatch the good versus non-good verbal communicators. So let's watch it. Teacher, may I help you to bring this book to the class? Yes, your pleasure. Thank you. Teacher, may I help you to bring this book to the class? No thanks, just help other teachers. Okay. Okay, from the video, I hope that we can practice to be a good communicator so that we can be a good teacher soon. Okay, next, there are several tips on improve your interpersonal communication skills. Okay, you can go through the slide. The first one is put your phone away, maintain eye contact, let the person speak uninterrupted, avoid making presumption and assumption, be truthful, be aware of your gestures and posture, be empathetic, develop a positive disposition. read it extensively, express gratitude and appreciation, and the last one is being sincere. So you have to practice more to be a good communicator. Okay, the second types of interpersonal skills is non-verbal communication. Okay, we know that non-verbal is consists of facial expression, body language, and hand gesture. Okay, there are two, which is a negative non-verbal communication consists of frowns and angry state. Okay, next is positive non-verbal communication, which means always has a smile on the face and use hand to further explain complicated direction. Then you can see in the slide, this say that two-way communication is essential when developing a set of excellent interpersonal skills. Speak clearly and animate with a positive non-verbal communication so that you can be a good communicator.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Syahmi bin Baduri. Okay, first of all, I would like to thanks to my partner, Syafiqah, because she already doing his part. Now I will continue my part, which is tools in interpersonal skill. Okay, for my part or my context, I will give detail about listening skill and negotiation skill. Okay, what is listening skill? In my opinion, listening skill is the ability to receive and interpret the message in the communication process. So for the simple meaning in listening skill is we are give a full attention toward the someone expression for any topic, and we are trying to understand each word that come out from his mouth. Therefore, as we can see from the slide, the listening skill is the ability to hear attentively and process information correctly. Okay, now I would like to give the example for the listening skill. Okay, the example is this situation mainly happen in the school where the student have the problem. Of course, they are going to a counseling room to get the best advice from their counseling teacher. Okay, this situation can happen where is the part of listening skill is also play the important part, where is when the student express his feeling toward their teacher, and then the teacher also lend their ears to hear what their problem. This is part where is the listening skill occur. Okay, listening is the not same as hearing. Why? Hearing is referred to the sounds that enter into our ears. However, hearing is we are not focused and concentrate toward the someone expression at all, and we are decide to ignore and or to understand what he or she said to us. Okay, what is making difference between hearing and listening? Okay, as you know, hearing is a passive process. Why? They are listening to hear only. However, for the listening is an active process. Why? They are listen to understand at all. Okay, I would like to give the example for the hearing. Okay, the example is this situation must happen in the school. Also, okay, the best example I can show you is in the classroom. Okay, many students look like they are focused towards their teacher. However, I can guarantee that not at all of them are focused, but they are just pretend to hear only. Okay, for the next slide, I would like to present about negotiation skill. What is negotiation skill? negotiation skill, in my view, is it involves a small group or big group, then they are discussed together to make a deal and reach agreement together. So the simple meaning for the negotiation skill is generally a negotiation result will give a benefit to everyone who is involved at that time. As we can see at the slide, the negotiation skill is the ability to discuss and reach agreement in a professional manner. What's so important about the negotiation skill? Okay, negotiation is the next level of interpersonal skill that is important to effective business communication. Only that's all for me.
Now, I will proceed with the type of interpersonal skills that have been explained, which is problem-solving skills. From the name itself, we can know what is this skill is all about. For problem-solving skills, we need to know how to solve a problem. Whatever we are doing in our life and wherever we are going, we are faced with countless problems. Sometimes we did not realize that we are solving problems in our daily life. There are several steps in problem-solving skills. First step is we need to identify the problem. By identifying the problem, we need to define the problem to understand the problem more. Second step, we need to structuring the problem. By structuring the problem, we need to gather more information about the problem. And the third one is we need to look for possible solutions. We need to brainstorm how to solve the problem by listing all the solutions that we can use for the problem. Now, I will explain the next type of interpersonal skill, which is decision-making skills. Actually, problem-solving skills and decision-making skills need to work together. Decision-making skills is the continuation of problem-solving skills. So, the next step, we need to make a decision. By making a decision, we need to do an analysis of the different possible solutions that have been listed out just now. Next step is we need to implement. We need to carry out the solution that have been chosen. And the last one is seeking feedback. We need to check whether the outcome is successful or not. So now I will give an example. So for the example, the teacher find out that the student did not want to learn mathematics. So the first step is we need to identify the problem. So the teacher find out that the students think that mathematics is not interesting subject. So the second step we need is to structuring the problem. By structuring the problem, so the teacher use WH question. The teacher think why the students not interested in mathematics. And the third step is we need to look for possible solution. So the teacher brainstorm how to solve the problem. So the teacher lists out all the solution. So the first solution that the teacher think is the teacher need to use colorful teaching aid. And the second solution is the teacher need to apply 21st century skills. Now, we're going on for the fourth step, which is decision making skills. In decision making skills, so the step is making a decision. So the teacher need to choose from the two solutions that the teacher have list out. So the teacher choose to use colorful teaching aids. So the next step is implementation. So the teacher need to create a colorful teaching aid to use in the class. And the last one, seeking feedback. So the teacher need to ask the student whether they understand or not the lesson and whether they find it interesting with using the colorful teaching aids.
Hi, my name is Wan Nur Adilah. I will continue with the seventh tool in interpersonal skill, which is assertiveness. Assertiveness is the ability to express positive and negative ideas and feelings in an open, honest and direct way. It is actually one of the communication style. Being assertive means you can balance between your needs and others' needs. People who are assertive are able to express their desire and needs with confidence. They give balanced chance to speak in conversation. They prefer to use I statement. For example, I feel frustrated when people show up late. If you have any problem to come in time, you can tell me so that I can understand. Instead of saying, you always come in late to my class. What is your problem? And they also have the ability to say no. How your assertiveness is showing? Through communication. When you have assertiveness, you are communicating with power. You are able to influence, persuade, or make an impact. It is associated with self-confidence, credibility, and effectiveness. How to communicate with power? We will look into these 4 tips one by one. First, stick to the point. Means you give message in the shortest but most impact. Avoid off-topic statement. Second, tailor-fit your communication to your audience. You need to consider the readiness, attention, age, and educational level of your audience. Next, connect. Communication sometimes depends on the quality of your rapport or connection with others. The more they feel connected to you, the more they want to listen to you. And last, don't be too casual. The use of slang, street talks, and pure grammar can affect your credibility, especially in formal setting. Bear in mind that not all situations are appropriate to be assertive. In a nutshell, using our words is one thing. Having the impact we intend, that takes skill and practice. The good news is that communication is a skill that can be learned and improved. Next, as what have been presented by Afiah, intrapersonal skill is the internal abilities and behavior that help you manage emotion, cope with challenge, and learn new information. So we will look into 2 things under intrapersonal. The first one is perception. Perception refers to set of process we use to assign meaning to data about ourselves or the world around you. This process includes organization, identification, and interpretation of stimuli in order to understand the information or the environment. The process begins with receiving stimuli from environment and end with our interpretation of those stimuli. There are 3 processes in perception, which is sensory perception, selective perception, and personal perception. Sensory perception is individual's ability to detect stimuli in the immediate environment. It is governed by 5 senses, which is sight, smell, sound, touch, and taste. For example, if we see a plant that has thorns, we interpret it to be danger, should not be touched. When we smell something stinky, we tend to expect the smell come from something dirty. And next, selective perception is the process by which we select, categorize, and analyze stimuli from our environment while blocking out stimuli that contradict our belief and expectation. We notice only to what we want. Factors that influence this are belief, expectation, hope, desire, and emotional attachment. One of the example is when a teacher have a favorite student because the student are handsome or pretty. Thus, the teacher tends to respond more to the student while ignoring other students in class. Something to wonder, does having a favorite student is something good to do as a teacher? As a future teacher, we need to be careful with selective perception because our perception towards students will influence on how we treat them. And last, personal perception. It is your own understanding of reality. It becomes the basis for your judgment and decision you make.
Factors that influence this are values, belief, culture, bias, prejudice, attitude, expectation, and knowledge. Different people have different perception. The decision you make might look idiots to others. People might critique you. And yes, people who love to critique are everywhere. But at the end of the day, only you yourself who know what is the best for you. Remember the story of the man, the wife, the donkey, and the critics? The moral is you can never please everybody. Never in the past, not at present, and never will be in the future. Thus, do not be too bothered by others' words if our moral sense is clear.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Faiz bin Zulkifli. Alright, thank you to Wan Nur Adilah for the explanation just now. Okay, now we'll move to the self-concept. Before I explain about self-concept, before we go to the definition of self-concept, I would like to read one quote by Baumeister 1999. Okay, from Baumeister, the individual's belief about himself or herself, including the person's attributes and who and what the self is. This quote is interesting to understand what is self-concept, because the key words about self-concept is there, which is the individual's belief. It is about self-belief. Okay, so now we move to the definition of self-concept, a very simple one, so don't worry. Self-concept is an idea of the self constructed from the belief one holds about oneself and the responses of others. So here, when we are talking about self-concept, we are talking about self that are constructed by our own belief and by others' responses. Okay. For the factors that influence self-concept, we have 4 here. And number 1 is how you perceive that you are seen and treated by others. The simple words is like how you respond to people, how you respond to friends, how you respond to persons when you are socialized. And number 2 is your own expectation and standard by yourself. Something like you are having a goals in your life. And number 3, how you compare yourself to others. And number 4, a foundation of in all types of communication. As you know, we have a few types of communication. For an example, is like one-to-one communication, one-to-one group communication, or a group communication. Okay. We have when we talk about self-concept, we must know what are the importances about self-concept. Okay, I highlight 3 importances from for the self-concept. Number 1 is for problem solving and decision making. It is very important because strong self-concept will have a better problem solving and a better decision making. And number 2, from self-concept, it is very important to determine the behavior, how we behave in nature, how we behave when we socialize, something like that. And number 3 is the processing of feedback. Okay, processing of feedback is internally happen. Yeah, how you respond to a certain event, how you respond to a problem, how you respond to any obstacle internally. Yeah, something like mentally. Okay, that's all about self-concept. Yeah, very simple. So now it is time for the conclusion. For the conclusion, I'll make it simple because I just want to highlight about the differences between interpersonal and intrapersonal skills. Okay, for the interpersonals, it involves 2 or more parties, but for intrapersonal, there are no external parties involved. Okay, number 2, for interpersonal, there are varying reasons to engage with people, but for intrapersonal, it involves a critical analysis or responses to loneliness. So there are varied reasons for interpersonal and intrapersonal, but for interpersonal, the reasons is externally, but for intrapersonal, the reasons are internally. Okay, and the last one is for interpersonal, have feedback from parties, but for intrapersonal, is individually feedback. Okay, because for interpersonal we are socialized, we involving with 2 or more parties, but for intrapersonal we have it involve individuals. We are talking about feelings, we are talking about thoughts, we are talking about beliefs. So the feedback is only from individuals, from oneself, not from others. So that's all from us about communication, interpersonal and intrapersonal skills. But don't go anywhere yet, because we are giving you a quiz after this. Stay back, we'll give you the link. And we would like to say thank you to all of you for lending us your time watching our presentation. So thank you everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.